Hey guys, this is Illusion Podfic, and today we're going to be reading Glowsticks and Bullet Holes by Hyperius. This is Chapter 17. I left the Justice League. What the fuck? Jason and Guy shared an incredulous look, eyes wide and mouth agape as they stared at Hal Jordan. The Green Lantern, so to speak. The most popular lantern on Earth and the one who had been on the Justice League since the very beginning. He was there when it started, there since their first battle against otherworldly beings. And now he's just done? It's out of left field too. Guy hadn't heard anything about Hal planning to leave the Justice League. And neither has Jason. This is so out of left field that it's almost too much for them to wrap their minds around. Why? Jason was first to recover from the shocking news, confusion wrapping around his thoughts and suffocating any sense of rationale. There's no reason for Hal's resignation. The world needs him. The world needs Green Lantern in the Justice League, fighting and protecting while keeping the others from getting too big in ego. He helps them navigate space and the alien culture they come in contact with. He's invaluable, and he just can't quit. Well, I guess I'm not officially gone yet, but I gave them an ultimatum. There was a moment of silence before Guy spoke. Gonna leave us guessing? Guy huffed, arms crossed and hip cocked. He has his suspicions for Hal's reasoning, and if he's right, then he's following in Hal's footsteps. I refuse to work with an abusive asshole. Hal let out a breath. I told him it's him or me. You can't do that! Jason jerked forward, grabbing Hal's shirt and shaking him, panic clear in his face and in his soul. Already he was internalizing the blame for Hal leaving and taking Hal's choices upon himself. It broke Hal's heart to see him carry the guilt of the world, of others, on his shoulders. He hated that Jason does this to himself, hurts himself like this. It's heartbreaking. I can, and I will. Not for you. Yes, for him. But Hal knows that saying that would only encourage Jason to internalize all their guilt. It's for me. I refuse to work with an abuser. And that's what he is. An abuser. I work with heroes. Good people through and through. I don't care how many people he's saved. If he's hurt those he's supposed to love, if he hurts those who are innocent, he is no hero. I refuse to work with someone who isn't a hero. Jason swallowed, eyes burning with the pressure of unshed tears. His whole life, ever since he came back from the grave at the very least, he's been begging for someone to notice. From the time he held a gun to Joker's temple, to all the times afterwards, he has called Bruce out on his actions, made snide comments and lashed out in anger at anyone who took the big bad's side. He knows it wasn't what people would call productive communication, but it was the only way he knew how to express himself to them. Either way, they wouldn't have listened. No one ever did. Hal carefully took Jason into his arms, pulling him close and holding him tight. He gently brushed his fingers through the boy's hair, shushing him softly despite Jason not actually crying. Hal knew deep down in his soul Jason was probably sobbing, so he felt it was fitting. I know you're used to always being alone, but no, you aren't and never will be again. We got you. Whether you want us here or not, we won't be leaving you. Ever. Is that a promise? Jason's voice was small, but there was a delicate hope in his tone that sent Hal's heart soaring. Yes. Yes, it is. Hal heard Guy chuckle before walking over and setting a hand on Jason's head, ruffling his hair. I won't join the mush pile, but I'm here for you too, kid. Always. As soon as he became a part of their little family, there's no turning back. And Jason? Yeah. He quickly became a part of their little family. Hal has all but adopted him, and Guy has, in his mind, officially uncle-adopted Jason. He won't go full dad like Hal, but he's certainly going to be looking after Jason for as long as he lives. Is Guy too much of a manly man to enjoy hugs? Hal pitched his voice up an octave, mocking Guy as he continued to hug Jason. Too manly man, too strong and buff. His tone shifted again, now using baby talk to tease his friend. No hugs for the strong man. I'll show you hugs, asshole. Guy wrapped his arms around both Jay and Hal, using the assistance of his constructs to lift the both of them off the ground in an overbearing bear hug. How's this for hugs? Jason burst out laughing, as he couldn't help the joy and amusement that flooded through his body. He felt loved and protected, trapped between the two Green Lanterns. He hasn't felt this way for a long time. Thinking about it more, he hasn't felt this way since before he died. He didn't even realize how lonely and depressed he was until now. until he wasn't any longer. He doesn't want to go back to before, to Gotham, to Batman. He wants to stay here, safe and happy for as long as he can. The cave felt more like a prison now than the safe haven it once was. It trapped the two heroes, suffocating them with its stale air and dim lights as they were forced to search through the heart-shattering cowl footage. There was no escape, no light, no distinction. They were surrounded by the shadow of the bat. It didn't take long for them to find the incriminating videos. Dick was, frankly put, horrified. Barry sat next to him, staring up at the bat computer with teary eyes and a deep frown. He reached over, grabbing tightly to Dick's hand in a way to comfort him without needing to say anything. Barry knew if he did, as it was, he'd only say mean things. And he knew now was not the time to do so. Not to Dick, at least. Video after video played before them, videos of Jason and Bruce fighting. Bruce never once pulling his punches, videos of Bruce scolding and yelling at Jason despite the Red Hood having just helped. Or even saved one of the bats, videos of Bruce requesting favors but never even once saying thanks. And more often than not, requesting more and more afterwards. Jason was never enough, never good enough, as he said. He was forced to jump and dance and beg, but he was never welcomed back. He was hardly ever given a smile, even. Then came the punches. Then came Arkham. Then came the batarang. Both heroes watched in horror as the Joker was held at gunpoint, before Bruce slit his son's throat to save the evil clown. They watched as Bruce took Joker and left, abandoning Jason behind, bleeding out in the rubble of the fallen building. He abandoned Jason. He hurt him. He fucking... And now he expects Jason to forgive him after that? After throwing him into Arkham, beating him and yelling at him. And Dick never even noticed. Dick never... A broken sob escaped from Dick's chest, and he brought his free hand up to cover his mouth and he shattered. He did notice, he realized. He just never saw. He was blinded by his own ignorance and bias, and Jason suffered because of it, because of him. Barry took a deep breath, slowly letting it out through his nose as he was forced to calm himself. He is pissed. He's beyond pissed, really. He's been working with this man for so long, and he never once noticed Batman's brutality? How has he not noticed? How have they all missed such obvious displays of abuse and cruelty? And what else has he done? What has he done to Dick, to Tim, to Damian? Victims of abusive relationships oftentimes can't recognize the abuse being inflicted upon them. So that could be the case for all of the Robins. It could explain Dick's supposed obliviousness to Jason's situation, and to his own situation. Were they all being hurt? Barry wanted to say no, but he can't anymore. He can't, and he won't. Mind made up, Barry squeezed Dick's hand tighter. He refused to leave the boy with the bat. He refused to leave any of the boys with the bat. I need a copy of these videos. Dick nodded, but didn't respond otherwise. He couldn't speak between the sobs, couldn't catch his breath as panic filled his chest. Barry looked over, eyes softening as he pulled Dick into his chest, holding him close. I know it's a lot, but don't worry, I've got you. You won't have to deal with this alone. Barry's heart ached for the boy, his nephew essentially. This situation, no one deserves to go through this. To have their whole world burn to the ground, for their very reality to come crumbling down around them. For their hero, their father, to be revealed as one of the villains they fight against on a daily basis. To realize that he was manipulated into abandoning his brother, who needed him the most, who faced the brunt of the abuse. It must be so hard, soul-wrenching, and heartbreaking. Barry can't even imagine the pain. Why don't you and your brothers come to my house for the weekend? So no one will be forced to be alone with the Batman. It's a temporary solution, but until they can find other lodging for the boys, it'll do. Dick finally pulled away, wiping at his eyes and sniffling pathetically. He really looked his age now, young. He's so young, and it's so easy to forget that. No, I need to find Jason. Dick, I don't know if that's the best idea. No! Dick held tighter to Barry, desperation clear in his eyes. I need to beg for forgiveness. I need to apologize. I can't know what I did and not try to make up for it. Even if he wants nothing to do with me anymore, I won't blame him. I just need to try. I can't not try. Barry let out a slow breath, slight smile on his face. Dick was, truly, such a pure soul. He has a good heart, one big enough to house enough love for the whole world. It's horrible to know it was tainted by Bruce's lies and darkness. I'll call and see if it'll be okay. Until then, please stay with me. Dick nodded, sniffled. Yeah, please? I'd like that. Dick took a deep breath. Barry standing behind him with a reassuring smile. He can do this. He knocked on the door, anticipation high and heart hammering. The suspense of what's to come making him fidget, shifting his weight from foot to foot. When the door opened, Jason was behind it. He looked well. There was more color in his cheeks, and he wasn't nearly as thin. He was never thin, per se, but he is clearly eating more now. He's more rounded out, and his muscles aren't so clear-cut anymore, as there seemed to be a little more give on his tummy. The bag beneath his eyes aren't nearly as noticeable, and he looks so much more alive. You look good. You look like shit. Yeah. Dick laughed, still not over how changed Jason was. He never would have thought Jason looked unwell before, but seeing him now and comparing it to then, it's so much clearer how damaging Gotham was for his little brother. How damaging they were for Jason. His chest constricted, just a bit tighter. I feel like shit. Jason snorted, opening the door just a bit wider. Well, come on in, I guess. Dick noticed the way Jason shifted. The slight was his movements were stilted. The way his fingers drummed against the door, he was nervous. Dick didn't blame him, with their history. Jason probably assumed Dick was there to yell at him, to take Bruce's side and invalidate his feelings. Never again. Dick followed Jason, paying little mind to Barry zipping past him and joining Hal in the kitchen. He didn't care about them, none of them, only Jason. Sitting beside Jason on the couch, he took a deep breath. Jason, I'm sorry. The words were rushed slightly, but he didn't pay mind. He was going to finish his little speech, if nothing else, and then take whatever punishment Jason is going to give him. Whatever it will be, Dick knows he deserves it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't notice what Bruce was doing to you. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I failed you. I failed you so badly, and there's nothing I can do to make it up to you. I am so sorry, Jason. You're being hurt. You're being hurt so badly, and I wasn't there for you. I didn't see it, and I didn't believe you. I invalidated you, and I feel awful. I feel awful it took someone else to notice, to make me notice what was being done to you. I should have believed you, and I promise you, if you allow me back in your life, I will never doubt you again. And if not, if Jason wants him out of his life forever, Dick will respect him. From now on, he will always respect him, and listen to him, and hear him. Truly and completely hear him. To put it lightly, Jason was taken aback. He stared, unable to completely process everything that was said. Dick hadn't believed him before, hadn't listened, and has certainly never cared so much before. At least, never this much. It was certainly a lot to process, really, but Dick sees him now. And more importantly, he's taking responsibility for his shortcomings. Jason shifted on the couch, looking down at his feet. He wants to forgive Dick, but he knows if he says so now, it'd be nothing but a lie. He doesn't forgive Dick, at least, not yet. It'll take some time. He looked up at Dick and stared. There was still doubt in his heart, doubt that once Dick's guilt passes, they will go back to how they were before. Jason needs to be sure, before anything, that that won't be the case. He needs to know that if he fully allows Dick back into his life, his brother will be there for him no matter what. Yeah, it'll take some time, but if you're willing to take that time, I will be too. Dick wanted to cry, but this time from happiness. He launched himself at Jason, wrapping his arms around his brother in a tight hug, more for himself than the younger boy. Jason was giving him a chance, and it is more than anything Dick could ask for. Thank you. I promise you, Jay, I'll never let you down again. I promise. After a brief pause, Jason hugged back desperately. He loves Hal and Guy, but knowing Dick Grayson now has his back too, knowing his older brother is there for him, it's special. It's a different type of love, one he's been desperate for since the day he wore the scaly panties, and was first introduced to his predecessor. He missed this. He missed him. Barry leaned into Hal's side, frown on his face when he noticed the Green Lantern was glaring at Dick. What? Hal shrugged, voice soft so only his friend will hear. I don't know about this. What if Dick goes back to kissing Bruce's ass? I don't want Jason to get betrayed again, especially not by someone he loves so much. He won't. Hal rested his hand on Hal's arm. I promise you, he won't. So if you don't trust him, trust me. Barry does love how much Hal has grown since Jason came into his life, how much of a dad he's become, and how much more compassionate and empathetic he is. It's been as good for Hal as it's been for Jason. However, that little overprotective streak Hal has grown by a mile. Distrust is boiling in his blood, and as warranted as it is, it's also bad. A little trust can go a long ways, and Jason needs that trust. Okay? Fine, Hal slumped, but I'll be holding you to it. Alright guys, and that is the end of chapter 17 of Glowsticks and Bullet Holes by Hyperius. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next chapter.